It's Tuesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. YK in the building.
Yo, good morning.
Mariam never gets the memo. She has full green. All of us have a touch of blue. They always that special one that stands out, right? Unique. You like to pop. How you doing, YK?
I'm fine. I'm sure I have gist, but I've just forgotten.
We understand. You're 60.
I always forget.
I know, and they're 60. It's not easy.
This old age is not easy.
But you're good, Cha.
I'm good.
Nima, you and I were hanging out yesterday.
In fact,
at the blood bank.
Yes, and you have too much blood.
See, can you imagine?
They do a pre-test before we take blood, and my hemoglobin was 11.6, so they said, no, you can't donate. I insisted, so they took a pediatric size of blood from me. And then Morale now comes in, looking at all of them with 13 point something. When they don't do 20%.
I didn't feel it. When they took my blood, I didn't feel jack. I was okay. I wasn't dizzy. They gave me a full bottle of water. I mean, I can go back for more, you know. I can actually give
This is my message last night. It was 11 o'clock I woke up. Yes. I could not do anything when I got home. I was just sleeping.
So you didn't have, what was your own?
I didn't have enough. I donated in the past, and I usually hate.
I think it's 11.5. 11.5 is the minimum. You have 11.5.
I had 11.6.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't get to 12.
And you had 13 point something.
Like you have extra.
It's all inside this place.
What was a good experience too. I mean, I felt good giving that blood. You know, it was like I was finally touching
I wish I could give blood.
Yeah, don't worry, right?
I'm sure you have like 14.
Do they have an age limit for giving blood?
60 above.
Yeah, if I haven't given before.
Yes.
Because I'm over 60 now.
Okay.
You know, I haven't given before. They can't take because of all the clicks and...
Okay, just good at making this excuse of how I can't donate.
Hi, dear Maria.
I'm doing fine. So I spent my weekend and yesterday making a periscope. Do you know what a periscope is?
Yes.
Children's their projects.
Hey.
I don't understand these projects that we do because I end up doing projects for my children. I've been thinking about how do we have this conversation? I will spend my many hours going on Google, YouTube, trying to come up with us. The student is the one that is even giving me direction. Do it this way. Do it. Arrange it here. Let me hold it, but I'm the one doing most of the work. And I wonder really, like, what is the aim for schools? Is it that they want us to do it, or if they want them to do it, it's better that they do it in school with a teacher's supervision?
They want you to do it together.
They want us to do it together.
So we had clashed about it at our own school. And I think last year they gave Adire, no, before the COVID, that was 2018, 2019, they gave Adire, and I said, Adire is okay. Because if you give anything beyond what she can do herself, I won't do it. So my own is to boil dye. We mix it. Oh, yeah, madam, tie. I taught her to tie, and she could execute it. And I saw that confidence when she presented it. And that's what project should be about. But some parents hire in our school. They hire artists to do the entire work. Hire scientists.
That debate.
But you never know.
My only problem is...
when you see the... Because I used to be a judge in the senior classes.
Okay, so you would know when someone...
They were doing a filtration science project. I told this child, I saw it, I said, you didn't do this work. And child just said, Mommy paid someone immediately.
For real?
Child just said to me, Mommy paid someone.
Teaching a child to be criminal.
Yes. Well, you know, the only part that I don't like about this
is what is destroying the fabric of our society right now.
True.
Very important.
But I had to do most of it because there was lots of scissors, there were mirrors, you know, broken glass and things like that. So you're giving a child that sort of project to expect that an adult will be involved in doing
supervising.
it. Yes, well, I don't know about supervising, but really doing it. The child was supervising, I was doing it.
So are lamenting.
Yes.
Parents are saying, please stop sending projects to us.
Send us
give them what the children can do. We will then supervise, not the other way around. Please, I feel you, trust me. I know that project. They told us to do.
You have 4 children.
Yeah, imagine 4 times over. They told us to do a boxing ring. And now with the box, and put the sticks in the corners, and put the wires, and put the for children.
So you had to do 4 boxing rings?
You had to do 3 boxing rings. It was just a lot of work.
It's not easy.
Parenting is not easy.
And my own is well. Per class is always a different project.
Yeah.
So imagine me, I cannot work like that.
So my last one is starting school in September.
Finally,
he's
so cute.
He's 2.5. He's going to start school. He's never been outside the house. We took him to church for the first time, Sunday school for the first time last week. As he entered, he became class captain. He took charge.
Because he wants to catch up with the people ahead of him.
Like,
the elder ones are already working.
I'm telling you, yes.
So he's not in his age class.
All right, it's Tuesday, so much is happening. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Right, we're going to start with The Nation. PDP governors raise alarm over frivolous borrowings. Oshimbajo, Bagudu's wife, make case for albinos. INEC job lobby for Onoche gears up at Senate. Shoyinka Clark faults Buhari's grazing route plan. Olubadon, Emir's parley on security in Ibadan. Oshiomhole renews battle with Obaseki over lawmakers. Ganduje, I will remain in politics after my tenure. All right, let's start with the major headline.
Major headline, yes. So PDP governors met in Akwa Ibom in Uyo, and really they were lamenting the worsening debt profile of our country. As of today, it stands at 36 trillion. We have a 36 trillion naira debt. And they say that it is grossly unsustainable given our GDP, and that 80% of what we, the loans that we take is to service our debt, and it makes no sense. It says, they give an example that of taking loans in order to fund NTA, that makes no economic sense, to do that. And they're also saying that the gains of the debt exit and cancellation under the Obasanjo regime, that we have squandered that, since we've constantly taken loans. But a spokesperson for the presidency is saying that, well, this administration, first of all, of course, they call them out for being playing to the gallery, but also said that these loans were taken in order to help refurbish existing infrastructure, build new ones, and gave an example of the rail project and says that it took the PDP administration 16 years and they still could not finish it, and see where they have come. It's important that we hear criticism from the opposition, and I think that is what PDP should have been doing a long time ago, be the proper opposition. And it's also important for the government in administration to hear the criticism and work accordingly.
I just wanted to say, sorry, I just wanted to say, I agree that they're well within their rights to criticize the government, and the government should listen. But I just think that all of them should take collective responsibility.
Yes, for the what we're in.
All the governments, since independence till today, all of them should take responsibility for where we are at today. I will keep saying it. Nobody should exonerate himself or herself.
Simple.
Mario, can I take the Edo story?
Go ahead. Want to take it here? Go ahead.
Yes, in the Nation. The Nation carries it as Oshiomhole renews his battle with the governor of Edo State, Obaseki, over the 14 lawmakers. So we are saying there are 14 lawmakers that were not inaugurated into the House of Assembly in Edo State. Until 2 years after, we still have the situation, pending. I'd rather that he's taking, the article is written from a democratic angle, rather than personalize it between two men. 14 constituencies in Edo State don't have representative as we speak. That's the basis. And if our goal is to entrench democracy and defend democracy, that's where we should be lining up. Two people fighting, they can fight forever. Their political business is their business. But 14 important constituencies who have something to say in Edo State lack that voice because somebody's been undemocratic and we're personalizing issues.
Let me take the Loretta Onoche story. So there has been quite a bit of horse trading going on behind the scene to get confirmation or to reject the confirmation of Senator for Loretta Onoche, who has been. They wanted to approve her as the INEC chairman, and
no, REC.
Yes, REC. Correct. INEC commissioner, actually. INEC commissioner. Let me take that again. Now, so what happened is that the senators are complaining that they don't want to start a precedent that cannot be sustained. According to them, Section 14, subsection 2A says a member of the commission shall be non-partisan and a person of unquestionable integrity. So according to them, this person that the presidency is nominating has questionable integrity and is partisan and should not be allowed to be the INEC commissioner at this point. But they're saying that for some reason, the presidency that the president himself continues to renominate after they've gone behind closed doors twice to lobby and tell the presidency that this person is not appropriate for this role. But he has sent her name twice, and at this point, he's now left in the hands of the Senate Committee on INEC to determine her confirmation.
But this is a very simple matter. They reject, they don't confirm. That's all.
You bring it, you reject.
If they like
reject,
let them bring it to 2023.
Exactly.
You reject, you don't confirm.
I think they too should have small integrity and understand why she is not suitable.
No, but the president is not seeing it, YK, because it's his discretion. He's not seeing it. According to what I read, according to him, he said that she's not a partisan. She hasn't played partisan politics, according to them.
She speaks for his administration.
But everybody knows that she has.
She has been. So
the National Assembly, the Senate particularly, continue to reject and don't confirm. At least we had an EFCC boss who wasn't confirmed in this country and could not work. Yeah. And it's not even possible. Mago worked in acting capacity. He could not work. But she can't be an acting rec. You don't have an election. It's not possible.
Since they don't want to understand, they should gather all information about her, send it to the president.
Maybe his handlers may not be letting him
just to write
Please stop blaming handlers.
Handlers. Okay, moving on to the Punch. Okay. Buhari regime borrows $2.02 billion from China.
Yes, real.
2 more suspects arrested over Osun female teenager killed by ritualists. Outrage as FG demolishes 12 Lagos churches on alleged illegal plots. Umahi defends Buhari's appointment, says Southeast Governors Youth meet on Saturday. How monarchs elites aid herdsmen atrocity, says Ekiti farmers. Naira tumbles by 51.95% despite CBN defense measures. 12 states battle IDP crisis, community farms deserted, and will respond appropriately to Fulani attack on Delta, says Pandef and Men. All right. Let's start with
churches.
Yes, why?
In First Act area, they gave them a 7-day quit notice and asked them to leave. They didn't tell them when they were coming. I think a week and some days later, they now came 5 o'clock in the morning and demolished the 12 churches. And I think they only left Redeemed and one other church.
Yes.
And the church, like this Evangelical International Church, Pastor Joshua Obong was saying they just came around 11, demolished the church, and they have been there for 20 years. Why are they coming to demolish their church? They had gone to Abuja to make reports, and before the lawyer could come back, they demolished the church. And the government is saying, come, you people are illegal, you built illegal structures. Yeah. Over the past 18 years.
So, okay, yesterday I was going home and even the markets, so we have furniture marketers on that area of the land that they're talking about. All their goods were on the express yesterday. Fire and demolition was happening at the market, not only churches. People's livelihood.
Yeah, they said one market and the car mart were involved as well.
Apart from that, I'm talking about those who had to move their furniture due to the road construction to that particular site. The Sandfield, and they're selling there. We also have a fruit market there just before the third gate in First Act. And all of that was cleared yesterday as well.
All right, let me...
So what do you think? Okay, it's not a hot topic, but it's very interesting that...
they're illegal occupiers.
They're yes. That's the point. Where I think the government went wrong is allowing them to even settle the first place.
Yeah. All right, let me take the major headline. They would, experts are worried about our debt to China, according to the report. As of 31st of March, $3.40 billion is being owed to China. And this loan is about 2.5% per annum, which is, sounds good. And it's tied to quite a number of major infrastructure, like the Lagos-Ibadan Railway and a whole bunch of others. But according to the report also, we paid about $719 million, of which 332.2 is the interest. Out of the 719, out of that, 332 is interest. So they are just worried that can we continue to sustain? Because right now there's actually another 5.8 billion naira foreign loan that has been approved but yet to be disbursed.
Yesterday, 800 billion supplementary budget, the assistant that the federal government was talking about, that Odume referred to yesterday.
Basic. Now, so right now, what I'm seeing now is about almost 3 plus 5. That's about almost 9 million. Almost $9 billion debt being owed to China at some point.
We service at 719.6 to Chinese loans in 2020.
But our experts, our Minister of Finance keeps telling us that we have the capacity, and we are still within boundaries that we can actually still service those that
after this administration, some people will not be able to get visa. They will block them. Because somebody has to explain this to the next generation, how we got here and what we're paying, you know.
Okay, let me go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue with the review. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Continue with the review.
But, please, before you continue, I wanted to ask, the Chinese flag that's at the railway line, what's the meaning, please? Can you just give me... I'm confused. I thought we were a sovereign nation.
Okay, so what I understand, first of all, our Minister of Transportation here was saying that as long as we are paying our debts, that nobody's going to take our infrastructure. Because remember, there was a fear last year, you know, because when he told that we waived our sovereignty.
He said it on our show.
He said it again. Hey, he said it on our show. So, according to, because it's a concession, now what that means, let me just say it right here.
They're the ones that bankroll us.
No. If you make a concession to someone, you agree to let them do or have something, especially in order to end an agreement or conflict. So we've agreed for China to have it until we're able to meet our obligations. So,
so China own that?
No, they don't own it. We own it, yes, but I'm not speaking with the federal government.
We own it, we don't own
Me
it.
and Airbus.
They bankrolled it.
They bankrolled. No,
who bankrolled you? China bankrolled.
But we are not paying them back.
And then we are paying them back. So it's like collateral.
Back.
Morayo, this is how to say it in layman times. They are our developer.
Okay, if we don't pay back now, not only will the flag be there, but they too will be here.
And then get them. And then get the infrastructure. Moving on.
Anyway, we need to take this human interest story.
We call the Minister of Transportation to explain to you again. If you are not clear,
I'm not clear.
I concession for you there, but
I'm not clear.
Adewale, an 18-year-old girl that was she was murdered by these men, Akin and Kabiru Oyeduton. They have been arrested. They're ritualists. The way the story goes is that Akin, she was his girlfriend allegedly, and he took her to his friend's house, where he strangled her while the friend was holding onto her legs, and then dismembered her and put her into a box because he was planning on using her for money rituals. Thankfully, the police were able to arrest 2 of them and 2 other more. And the police is going to make sure that they see to the end of this case.
I hope so.
Sad story, she lost her life, but thankfully at least justice in some way. However, you know.
When you arrest this kind of people, what do? Just throw them in jail and that's it?
No, we prosecute them now.
Yes, and
so
then...
they're killed and we still have our corporal punishment.
And somebody don't let them loose on...
No,
I don't know what
but they would then put them. Our governors don't sign death sentence.
In fact, our papers every day, you see
killings,
headsmen. It's just... I don't even want to read papers anymore.
Yeah, it's very, very brutal. Moving on now to the News Direct.
Okay.
Made their debut today. You hardly take them, but they've been very consistent, so we have to take their story today.
Try.
Federal government unveils technology to tackle fuel tanker explosions. COVID-19 cases drop for 7th week as Africa records high mortality, says WHO. Judiciary legislative autonomy, governors to hold virtual meeting. Delta woman attack pastor for speaking ill of Prophet TB Joshua. Nigeria may not see another democracy, they say Shoyinka. And Niger Delta leaders commend Sylvia for 2021 Nigeria International Energy Summit. All right.
Very interesting stories. I wanted to take the major headline. So the National Oil Spills Detection and Response Agency, NOSDRA, has announced that they want to start to compel tankers to install a particular technology device in their tankers that protects during a fall and a possible fire and reduces the damage that they cause. So, according to the director, his name is Mr. Lancelot Anyanya, that's the board chairman, said that tankers used to carry about 13,000 to 30,000 liters of fuel. Now, because they are rushing to make profit, they carry over 60,000 liters of fuel. So when they fall, the spills and the level of damage is extreme. So they are partnering all agencies, including the Federal Road Safety, independent petroleum marketers, all of the players in this industry to compel their subscribers to install this device that will...
All right, one more story. Yeah, so COVID-19 cases, they say worldwide, have been dropping for 7 weeks now consistently. The numbers have been dropping. That's the virus itself and the transmission. But it says that even though that is a positive and it's happening, in Africa, the mortality rate is increasing. In fact, there's just a steep increase, especially from Africa. And that is largely due to our lack of access to vaccines, diagnostics, oxygen. And the World Health Organization was saying that just at the recently concluded G7 summit, that they're trying to see that worldwide they reach a 70% vaccination for, the population.
It's really sad.
But the virus is moving faster than we are vaccinating people. Those who are most likely to get infected are those who have no covering. So if you've never been vaccinated, because there are different strains right now, and those ones are getting people much faster. So if you're vaccinated,
I mean, a class of one of my classmates from Zambia, one of my master's program that I'm doing, and he and his wife are in critical condition right now in Zambia. And it's really crazy, especially in that southeastern Africa area. The numbers are really high. We have to just be careful.
Keep wearing our masks and following the
same News Direct. I guess we're on News Direct today. Governor Sanwo-Olu has commissioned a 110-bedroom maternal and childcare center in Ekpe. And at the commission, he was saying that for the past 2 years, his government have done everything to improve maternal and childcare health in the states, and their goal is to ensure that every child and mother is well taken care of. So I'm happy about that. That's good news for Ekpe.
Congratulations to Ekpe.
Moving on now to Vanguard. Nigeria on suicide slide must decentralize fast, says Soyinka. Terminal operators to contribute to total reconstruction of Apapa Port. I'm sure Nima took that story. Nigeria faces bankruptcy with FG's excessive borrowings, PDP governors say. TB Joshua bearer for July 9th, says family source. Twitter ECOWAS court adjourns case against FG till June 22. And militants reply headsmen vow to repel attacks on Delta. And 2023 House South can get presidency by Northern elders. Which story are we taking there?
Let's
start with Apapa.
So the Minister for Transport was responding on a live TV program to a question about how he saw Apapa, and he was saying when he visited the president train, he saw sanity in Apapa. Usual rowdiness, congestion and all of that was not there. Only for him to come the next morning, and everything it's like they resumed the madness in Apapa. So he's saying that the reconstruction of Apapa and the seaport has to involve the terminals in Apapa, all of them. And I wanted to say to him, sir, the bonded terminals along the Badagry Expressway, Odojo, Apapa exists, all of that inclusive. Because the chaos you saw in Apapa the next morning is the reality every day in some areas. Yes. And this particular terminal, bonded terminal at Ilepo on Odojo Road bus stop towards Abule Osun, every day hold an entire community to ransom. They watch people, school children, suffer in that traffic that they cause, and watch people die in that traffic on the way to access hospitals in Festac. Please, let's not pay lip service to this beyond.
Mandatory story.
Yeah, so the UNICEF has expressed as dismay over the continuous, the 150 students that were kidnapped from Salihuta Tonko Islamia School. It's been 2 weeks.
Yes.
They're still in the kidnappers' den. And, sadly, it's just the silence that, nobody's really talking about it. Anyway, UNICEF is saying that this is a bad situation and the government needs to rise up and do something about protecting school children. Parents are afraid of sending their children to school.
If it was their children, is that how everybody will be silent?
That's just quiet.
Very painful is that the noise, the seriousness of this was killed with the noise of Twitter ban. We were all making noise. The same week both happened. And
you see, that was one of the things that Twitter was good for. We could voice our displeasure.
Yes.
Now, you can't.
Difficult.
So, at least government will be able to...
the federal government, 150 children are still out there in the kidnappers' den. Please, their parents are crying and begging for them to be returned.
Daily Sun very quickly, Soyinka warns of looming breakup. 1 killed, 6 abducted as herdsmen attack Enugu community. Democracy Day, nothing to celebrate, says Northern Can. Men, SMBLF, Clark promised Fulani jihadists fire for fire. PDP governors raised the alarm over FG's rising debt. Herdsmen kill 13, injure others in Plateau and Akwa Ibom. Ebonyi has no land to give to herders for ranches, says Umahi. All right, which story?
Northern Can, the Christians Association of Nigeria, the Northern chapter, is saying that really, concerning Democracy Day, there's nothing for them to celebrate because of the banditry, kidnapping, killings, assassin murders, everything that's just going on, and it's preventing people from even getting to the farms. So on top of all of this, we're hungry as well. So this has moved, the state of the nation is moving people towards hunger and poverty, and the government just needs to step up. I think that's just the message everywhere.
You know, when our president said 10 million people have been removed from poverty. I'm wondering, who are the 10 million?
Do you know them?
Or is it 10 million have been removed and 30 million have been added? I'm wondering.
Well, that's the reality. And this is not about partisanship. Because of COVID,
I don't belong to any party.
Lots of people, no, because they will say, you know, that's how they react. They react at an agitation. So because of COVID, a lot of people had to be let go. Some companies had to downsize, and we had a growth in the level of unemployed persons in Nigeria at the time. So the calculation of the number of beneficiaries from the borrowers and all of that, market money and all of those CBN interventions is not the basis.
Let me just quickly take Daily Trust, because there's a story that I was interested in. Military gunships kill over 1,000 cows in Nasarawa. We're at the mercy of kidnappers. Emir of Zazal cries out. Forex scarcity, airlines worried as operational cost rises, and delegates to determine my successor, says Ganduje. Really sad story. I mean, according to this report, airstrikes actually, armies struck this community in Nasarawa, and according to them, bandits had shot at the security, some of the security operatives there, and in response of that attack, they almost cleared the entire community, and almost all the cows, about 1,000 cows, were killed, and the herders ran for their lives. I mean, this was totally, I don't understand how that could have happened.
Unintended consequence of
yes,
that's what it happens.
And they said that the Emir of Zaza is also crying out desperately that his community is under attack, especially even the fact that he's saying that in his community they have quite a number of military stations there. So it's like, if my community can be this under attack when I have quite a bit of military stations, that it means that they're not safe at all.
Nobody is safe.
Nobody is safe. So they have a lot of military.
Which is what I would have really wanted us to talk about on the point, the next paper. The
point, yes, I was going to take that paper next. The point, exclusive 2023 presidency, mistakes IAPC must not make, says Yahaya Bello. FG targets 2.37 trillion operating surplus from MDAs in 2022 budget. And how police extort money from travelers with POS in Osun. This is the point newspaper.
So I clearly read to see where the mistakes that the party should not make in 2023, and he was simply talking about internal democracy within the party. We have a lot of issues, especially this, you know, this detachment they have from reality that Nigerians are suffering. I wanted him to talk about that, but we did not see it. It was just about internal democracy, registry parties, and how well he's done as governor in Kogi State.
I don't know why people are talking about politics. I mean, it's actually really disheartening when people are discussing politics. I mean, I saw Yoshomole. I mean, yeah, when there's a lot of insecurity, everybody, all voices must be united on this issue.
Let's address issues.
Let's address the issue. Politicking at this stage.
Personalizing them, politicking and all of that.
Final paper is the Nigerian Tribune. Nobody took the Shoyinka story. We don't want to take it, right?
We don't want trouble.
Nigeria defaults.
There's no trouble. He's just saying things that we know already now.
Nigeria defaults on the $200 million Mambila settlement agreement. Picture here of this young man. His name is Ferdinand Maumo in Makoko, 2021 chess champion, having a chess game with the governor of Lagos State.
Young guy. Nigeria
needs leaders who will unite countries, says Oshimbajo. Government reserves turning into hideouts for criminal headsmen. Ekiti farmers cry out. Okay.
I was very impressed with this boy when he won the,
the tournament.
Yes. Small, and from indigent community, the opportunity that intelligence got him. Now he's sitting with the governor.
Okay, so the chairman of AFA, that's the Farmers Association of Nigerian Farmers, have cried out. Mr. Adeniran Alagbada says that Fulani headsmen, criminal headsmen, I would say, criminal headsmen wreak havoc on the farmers and residents of the state, and they're using their reserves as hideouts. And they're asking that the governors and the government should please come to their aid because all their reserves have been taken over by these killer herdsmen. All right, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, what's hot? Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, everyone has talked about it. Everyone has discussed it on different platforms. But your view is yet to talk about it. And until we talk about it, it has to be spoken about.
That's funny.
So, today we're discussing the trending issue over the weekend about a minister, Tope Alabi, and another younger minister, Adeyinka Alashiyori. What happened was that, according to the story and the reports that we saw, Tope Alabi actually was ministering and then talked about a song, Oniduro, and criticizing the fact that, according to her, that Oniduro, that God is not, according to her words, God is not her Oniduro, because according to her, Oniduro, God is much more than an Oniduro. Now, Oniduro in English is guarantor. And then it went viral. People were now criticizing, accusing her of trying to bring down a younger gospel artist. People were now criticizing her. Also, why would anybody criticize the name of God? Because according to people, you can call God whatever you choose to call God. And also, others started dragging her, bringing up issues of, oh, this is not her first time. She has done it before. And then throwing shades at somebody who many believe has been a minister of God. So the question, therefore, as I said, we don't like to gist on this platform. We like to bring out the issues and the learnings. So in every experience, we try to, what are the learnings from this? And how do we become better people from this experience? So I'll come to you, Nima. I'll start with you because I know you're familiar with this story. What are your thoughts? Because my own reservation, yes, somebody obviously goofed. Obviously, it was clear. There's no way, there's no side you won't talk about this thing from. Yes, it was a goof, and I think we all acknowledge that. But the response that came afterwards is what was disheartening. Like the way people began to bring out stuff from her past. Was that necessary? And in your view, do you think her utterance was actually intentional or premeditated? Because that's people were being judge and jury. Oh, she thought about it. Oh, others are saying maybe it was just a loose talk. So in your view, how did you interpret that whole thing? Was it a loose talk or was it premeditated?
So prior to this, all of the Yoruba songs that I usually reflect on that I call gospel songs are Tope Alabi songs. Prior to this. So I saw the video where she now made mention of it, and because of that, I know that there's another lady, young person singing the song. What I saw was arrogance in correcting. And it's not to gospel artists alone. Now, we don't have gospel artists a lot in Muslim football. You see people claiming to have knowledge and trying to correct a younger person, but not from a place of love. I clearly turn off sermons, especially in Yoruba language, from even Islamic scholars. When I hear that arrogance, you're trying to talk about a person, you say, oh, bonuni, all those kind of things. They do it a lot. In every correction, you do 3 lines of correction, and then you end it with, koronu, okbonu, those kind of things, calling people stupid, calling them lack of thought. And I saw that in what she did. So she was trying to correct the song, and it was later on I found the thing did not even have any negative meaning. She made it seem like, the girl wasn't well thought, the song wasn't well thought through. She didn't make it. At some point she was saying, when you receive ministration, you have to think it, digest it, chew it. And I kept waiting for the negative. I didn't find it. And so a lot of people thought, why is Madame just attacking this poor girl? Because a lot of people also had used this song as their own ministrations as well that loved it. So for me, let's use knowledge, correct. Let our knowledge not bring us to that point of arrogance. God himself hates arrogance. And these are gospel artists. And because she came from that point, a lot of Nigerians, including myself, felt you are not only yourself. And people started to dig up her past. People started to check. So videos from what she had done, you know, the mistakes she had made in the past, because she's not giving this girl a green-on period.
Okay, so I'll let Mariam's initial thoughts, because that's where I had an issue with people using your goof to begin to dig out your past. Like, they are also saints, or they are, because for me, it came as hypocritical. It's because we see her own goof. We all have goofs in our own private homes. We all have things where we say things about people, oh, this person, that person is stupid. But because it doesn't come out on social media, suddenly now we are the saints and this is the devil. So that was my issue with that. But let me hear your initial thought. Yes, Mikey.
As a TV, OAP, is that not what they call people like us?
Yes.
As an OAP, if you goof, you have goofed publicly. Even if you goof in the privacy of your, once it goes outside, people are going to talk about it. People are going to. So that is why you owe it to yourself to be careful of anything you say or do, because they're going to come for you. Good or bad. Good or bad. I mean, there is something that maybe I said or we said on TVC last week, and something came on, you know, you can still get Twitter alerts, and somebody was abusing me.
Imagine that.
Tag TVC, tagged me, said, God punish all of you. And I'm like, what?
What did I say?
I don't even know what was, you know, I just blocked it and deleted it, and I just moved on, and I'm like, so because you are out there publicly, people think it's their right to abuse you or criticize you. So you have to take responsibility for whatever you do or say.
Initial thoughts on this?
Yes, so my thoughts are, first of all, because of who she is, I don't listen to a lot of Yoruba gospel artists, but I found about her because of your view and the way Mariah, I think your husband loves him so much, so Mariah talks about Alabi quite a lot. And she's always just preached, you know, like good news, the good messages. And I understand the position of someone that can make a mistake and say something. So I've even found myself in a position where someone was describing, her own relationship with God. And in my response to that person, I thought, why are you limiting God? That was, in my own opinion, I felt like the way she's talking about her relationship with God is like she has put him in a box when God can be much more than that. You know, and at the time I said it, it came only from a place of just giving my own opinion as well. I wasn't denigrating, I wasn't calling her out, I wasn't shading the person. It was just saying, the way you are worshiping your God is very different from the way I see it. But I got to understand that later, it is not your right. It is not my right to tell someone else how they should see their God or the sort of relationship that they should have with their Father. And how he responds to them is different from the way he responds to you. So we should be humble in how people, you know, when we receive people's stories, hold it to your chest, and you and your God can discuss how they, you know, but it's not for you to come out in public and call someone out on their own relationship with their own Father. But also, I think she must have said, because she made a mistake, it was a slip of tongue. And we need to address these sort of things with grace. Let's not stop this cancel culture of calling people out and tearing them apart.
Okay, I'll go to that when we come back, because that's where I want us to take this conversation to. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still talking about this issue of calling out people on social media. So, because the truth is, yes, this is the world of social media. When mistakes happen, people go out and drag. But shouldn't we know the kind of people to be dragging? I don't know. That means sometimes I feel that, I'm not trying to be partial here, but I don't know if I respect the grace upon somebody's life. I don't know. I can't use the same mouth that I used to praise and I used to condemn. I don't know how people do it. It was so difficult for me. So yes, she goofed, no doubt about that. No, but is there a way we can call out our goof respectfully, not disrespectful like we have done? That's my own issue.
This has trended for so long. I remember the former governor and the artists, this very popular artist that I am a fan of, were trending one time for calling him all sorts of names. And I was able to say it on the show that you are Bayani. You know, adults don't behave like that publicly. You would expect that till now, should have reached out to this young lady, or
maybe she has, and we don't know.
But then you made a mistake publicly. My people say now, if you make your mistakes public, the whole world will see it. And then when you want to make your corrections, don't naked me in public and come and tie me rapper inside. So if you made that mistake public, you naked the girl publicly, do something publicly to address it so that people will shut up for life. Everybody in Nigeria, including the artists that make gospel entertainment, about something to say. People will know who have dirty linens in their own cupboard that their own have not come out. I've said something about it. So I would rather she addresses it because she's someone that a lot of people respect. So respect people back and address it, but she hasn't.
But there's also another part where she did not think she did anything wrong. Where she felt that the Holy Spirit told her what to say and she was prepared to to face the consequences. There's another thing.
That told her.
No, there's another thing about that where some people will say, I said what I said and I'm not backing down and I stand by it and this is how I feel. And she's willing and ready for what she expects. In fact, some people would even say that that is what happens to evangelists. People that stand up for God, they will get this kind of backlash when you stand up for the word of God. So there's that. If you do not feel the need to say sorry, that's another thing where we can come up with a PR statement of, oh, we're sorry. If you don't feel like it, then don't say it, but be willing to accept the consequences of your actions.
But
which is
see, another thing, see, what I also respect the grace upon the Yinka Lashiro's life, the other young lady, because even when people are there talking about this whole thing, she has been calm. You could see that this is somebody who God is using at this time. And she hasn't really taken the opportunity to come and, be all noisy about this whole thing. She's been very, very calm. And I don't like that. I have an issue with when people who now have long-term beef for Tope Alabi will now use this opportunity. That's where I have a problem with.
And that's because I don't know any of them. So. Yeah. What was the past that they brought out?
Let me take this call. Let me take this call from Mike. Mike, I'll give you that. Good morning, Mike. Are you there? Thanks for calling from Wales.
Yeah, good morning, Morayo.
Good morning.
Yeah, just on a lighter note, this is not my first time of calling, but the first time I called, you lady didn't clap for me, so I did my clap.
How did you
All right. Okay, good morning. Just a quick one. You see, the truth is that what I saw in Tope Alabi's, sermon, will I call it, or preaching or what, is pure pride, arrogance, and, you see, pomposity. You call somebody, this person is, you can call God what pleases you. We've seen people that have called God the name that they want God, that they feel that if they call God this thing, it will satisfy them. People praise God the way they want. David, the only way David knew how to praise God was to dance. And there was a woman that, according to the Bible, she was the only woman that was barren throughout because she condemned David for dancing.
Yes.
Leave people the way they want to praise their God. This same Tope Alabi, we saw video where he was praising Yahoo boys. He was praising Yahoo. Nobody disturbed that. Leave people the way they want to praise their God. That is just it.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, please give me the gist because
I don't want
to. I like gists.
The caller has given you some of the background, but no, in this industry now, what we are finding out is that they are competitors. Everybody wants to be the major, and Tope Alabi has dominated this industry for a while as the head, as the lead. She continues to
by her own doing or by God's grace?
But she's always been a pace setter. She's done well for herself. And even when she made her mistakes, because of the might of her grace, let me speak like Morayo now, people have overlooked it.
So
now she is calling out somebody not for a mistake. Literary criticism is normal across the world. These two people are creative artists. They've sang songs. People can come from the place. Even while studying in literature those days, we used to read criticism of artworks to understand and better appreciate artworks. So I would have loved that she does it from a creative position, but that's not what she did.
Nima, let me come at Nima. Nima on this table said, was it last week or something, that social media has become judge and jury. Yeah. So you sit down, you watch a video, and you can detect from the video that this is premeditated. Oh, what's Roni? She said this, she has thought about it, she has digested it, she came to come and pull somebody down. We don't know that. We all read all sorts of meanings. No matter how you want to look at it, I'm not saying you're not right. I'm not saying it could be any way. give somebody a benefit of a doubt. Yes, exactly. What if it was just a mistake? What if she intentionally, yes, she thought about it, maybe in her own private house, in her private room. She said, how can somebody call God guarantor? What kind of, she's saying this in her own house. And it just mistakenly outside, though, she now lose them.
Okay, let me tell you something. Let me show you my own
weakness. So before it's a mistake, do we now make it as if, heaven has fallen down?
Say something. As a creative, sorry, Nima, as a creative,
yes,
you really need to watch how you criticize another creative, because that is your field. It's your field, so you have to be very circumspect when you are criticizing another creative. Yeah. You know, it's spoken rule.
I just said the same thing.
It's like if another TV program starts like this and they call it My View.
We don't have time. We don't have work.
What are they saying on there?
No, it's not even My View. Let them call it another name. Then we don't have work. We make a whole show out of what they did on their show. Shall we have work?
Or let's put it this way. Let's say that there's another show, just like the example to Nima, and then in giving a point, you say something, you said something, which you didn't mean it the way it came out. But then the other show now looks at you like, oh, so this girl out of envy said this. Was saying that sometimes mistakes happen. Sometimes we misspeak.
Yes.
But also, what is important is respect.
Yes.
Respect is important in the way when you make a mistake, you respectfully see your what is the word now?
Distracting her.
When you make a, we need to understand. See, you were talking about the other artist as well and how she has carried on.
Yeah.
That's a respectful person.
Yes.
She has decided that what is important to her, she decided that what's important to her is her own relationship with her God and her music. Yeah. And that's all she's going to do. And the other lady who criticized her, she would respectfully reach out to her. Yeah. But there's another thing where you expect, because I did it in public, I have to come out in public to help Nima feel better about the criticism that she has given me. I can decide that I will come out. I can decide and I can privately reach out to this person.
Can I read tubes?
Let me read tubes now. People are commenting. You didn't even let me read their hang it there. I'll come to you, Nima. Wait, hang it there. I'll come to you. Let me take you.
Let me read tubes now.
I'll come to you. 1 second. YK, we have to run. Yeah, go ahead.
Biliki says, anyway, public swearing goes with the territory. Reminds me why I don't want to be a celebrity. More like Britchy, because Niger folks go remind you how your mama carry your belly. Okay. Andrew Stratham, honestly, Bilikis Moronike, this is a side issue. Man and woman no fit close eye for Nigeria because of herdsmen. We dey talk about Tokwe Alabi and Oniduro, na side issue be this.
Okay.
The arrogance that still keep her away from apologizing and the blasphemy around the Holy Ghost.
Okay, Wyke, let me let Nima have a final word. Yes, go ahead,
So
Nima.
this is not Nima. Okay. This is us having a show.
Yes.
And me talking and representing a side of the opinion.
Yes.
So I don't have issues with Tokwe Alabi, and I'm not a fan of any of the music. Okay. I'm a fan of her songs. Now, what I wanted to address, you allowed me to forget my line of thought when Miriam was talking about something.
When I was talking about if there's another show, and then you make a mistake and slip.
So the realness and how it's possible for us to determine whether she made it deliberately or by a mistake. Yeah. So this wasn't you just singing. You singled out a song to correct. You sang the rhythm of the person who sang the particular song, because Alesha Yoria, what's her name, the Yinka girl, doesn't own that song originally. Right. You sang it in her rhythm to address that you were talking to her. Right. You then go on and say that she didn't receive it, and if she did receive it, she didn't think it, chew it, digest it. This is a deliberate correction. Right. And not even you do it in a way of arrogance. Let people react just the way you have reacted to somebody's artwork. Right. Okay. So this is two creatives doing their work, and you went out of line. If you goof, they're not going to tell you.
Okay, they don't go. Okay, are you done? Can we move on now? Are we good?
Maybe we drink water.
That's all we can take on this.
I didn't read tubes, though.
Tubes you're taking away. Now they're calling them tubes. All right,
YouTube.
Okay, so I think generally we all agree that what she did was wrong. Nobody's saying that. We all agree that it was wrong. If you're going to correct somebody, correct them in love. But we're also saying that, yes, social media time, if you're a celebrity, you need to be very careful in what you say. I have been through where I made a goof and went viral and went crazy. And till tomorrow, if I do this morning, and that's how the other day she went to go and say, so no matter what, it lives. Nobody ever forgets. So the same thing, we have to be always careful. All right, that's all we can take on this. And we come back, move on to other topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, last Sunday, residents of Asaba, the Delta State capital, were thrown into confusion following a threat letter issued by suspected jihadists to attack the capital city over Governor Ifeanyi Okowa's support for the ban on open grazing in the southern part of the country. However, police have since dismissed the threat, saying the letter was circulated by miscreants to create fear. Joining us on the show now is the Delta State Commissioner for Information, Charles Aniagu. Welcome to the show, sir.
Immediate past Commissioner for Information. Good morning.
All right, sir. Good to have you on the show. So give us an update.
Let me appreciate it.
So give us an update on what's going on in Delta State. So everybody got scared. I mean, over the weekend when we saw the reports and the letter went circulated all over social media, and everybody was scared about what could happen in Delta State. Could you give us an update on your view, how far the government has done to protect the state, and if we have any reports on where the origin of this letter?
Well, like I rightly corrected, I'm the immediate past Commissioner for Information, but I'm still in Delta and at least in touch with the authorities to have a fair knowledge of what is happening. And of course, like you also rightly mentioned, the threat went viral on the social media, and so even the traditional media also reported it. So to that extent, I also got the same information as to that issue of the threat coming from a group that called its name Fulani Jihadist. I am aware that the authorities, as the governor, have directed the security agencies to be up and doing, and then the Commissioner of Police in the state have also issued a statement in that regard. And I'm also very much aware that the Arewa group here in Delta, comprising of also the Hausa and the Fulani, and of course a host of others from the northern part of the country, have also dissociated themselves from that particular threat. But given the trend that has happened in other parts of the country, the government is not lying low on these issues. They are dealing with it, but Deltans have also been ought to go about their businesses, because why we will not the government may not want to believe that it's coming from those who claim they are Fulani jihadists. The government is not also mindful of the fact that some persons may want to also play some pranks with the view to increasing the level of mistrust that is at the moment prevalent in our country. And here in Delta, the government have urged the citizens to go about their business peacefully, to continue to respect the relationship that have always existed between Deltans and indeed other ethnic groups, whether they are Fulani or whether they are other ethnic groups in the country, because for the past years, Delta has been in the news largely for the good reasons, and the government is very much interested in keeping it at that.
Right. So the movement for emancipation of the Niger Delta meant, and some other groups have responded this morning. Shouldn't we be careful? You know why I say this? We have a situation now in the southeast beyond our control, and it started from things like this, having letters pasted, mischief makers, posting letters and then inciting reactions that were beyond control. And today, attack of our police stations, attacks of our INEC offices are happening southeast. And now they've moved to Delta. I personally felt yesterday, I believe that these are mischief makers trying to give foundation for whatever crisis they want to start within the state. What exactly do you think about that letter? Do you just accept it as it is, or is there another way you're seeing it?
Well, what you understand is that oftentimes government and indeed a host number of Nigerians are talking about the need for us to remain one indivisible entity. And personally, I also subscribe to the fact that we need to remain one country, because there are a lot of advantages that will derive from remaining as a country. But from behind, you just see that there's a lot of balkanization of the country. You see different groups now speaking for themselves. And if you ask me, I will blame it on the doorsteps of the presidency and indeed the central government. The federal government needs to step up its acts and ensure every Nigerian, irrespective of your ethnic group, that this country belongs to everybody. Now you mentioned the issue of men responding. Of course, you do expect that it is only an unwise man that you tell that you are going to kill and he decides to still stand at the same spot, you do expect that the individuals will reserve the right to continue to protect their territory in the event that the federal government is not able to do what is expected of them in that regard. But we just do hope that the federal government will rise up to the challenge and give every part of this country that particular trust and that particular confidence that we can rely indeed on the federal authorities to protect all of us. Otherwise, you begin to see where states will continue to ask their people to defend themselves. You saw what happened in Zamfara just 2 days ago, where the governor addressed them and asked them to defend their communities. Of course, you know the situation in Benue and a number of other states. So if every state continue to ask their people to defend their communities, then where lies our Nigerianness and our nation? Mm-hmm. And that is why in Delta, we are quite mindful of the need for us, both at the center and the state level, to continue to promote tendencies that will further unite us. Our people are very mindful of this unity. They have continued to respect different persons irrespective of their ethnic background. And the Arewas acknowledge that in their briefing, that Delta have extended to them a lot of love. And we just do hope that they will continue to reciprocate that, because the love and unity is not in short supply in Delta State. Right. So as long as everybody who in the state continue along that line, be rest assured that Delta will continue to welcome them and continue to extend that same hands of fellowship and love.
Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have the former Commissioner for Information, Delta State, with us, Mr. Charles Anyegu. Yes, Mariam had a question. Go ahead, please.
There are two things that worry me about this, and I just hope you can, help me. So first of all is the almost quick dismissal of these letters as being from mischief makers or from miscreants. And I'm hoping that the state government is putting pressure on the police to find out and fish out who these miscreants are, no matter how tiny or inconsequential they are, because we understand the power of words. Secondly, I would like to understand if you are saying MEND now speaks for the government of Delta State in their response. Is that the response that the state government wants to put out as their own response, given the disassociation of the Arewa and association in Delta State?
Well, let me start from the later part of your question. MEN does not speak for Delta State government, but whether you like it or not, Delta State is occupied by people of different ethnic groups. And then the Niger Delta, where Delta State is also situated, has a lot of different ethnic groups. So if a particular ethnic group feels threatened, and then they believe that the government or a region believe that the government at the center has not done so much, they are not going to likely fold their hands. They are not responding to the government, because don't forget, they are not addressing the federal government. MEND is addressing the group. So if a particular group threatens you, assuming that the group is actually genuine, there is nothing that also stops another group to say, no, you cannot threaten me. And that was why I said that it's important for the federal government to come to the center and make every group, irrespective of where they are from, to have that sense of belonging. Yes. So if that threat is coming, the police authorities have spoken on behalf of the state authorities. And I also made it very clear that I'm very much aware that the governor had met with the security operatives in the states, and then decisions have been taken as to how to deal with such issues. Of course, you do know that issues of security are not things that you largely come to television and begin to divulge your tactics. I'm quite aware that the government is working out modalities to address such issues, but I'm talking about living tokenism, which is individual states having to put in place their processes of securing their people, to a larger and much more comprehensive approach, which is to come from the federal government, so that every Nigerian will have a sense of belonging. Because if you don't, our talk of oneness, our talk of a greater country, our talk of people not dismembering their country will be in vain. Because once you have individuals protecting themselves and speaking for themselves, and then holding on to their different groups as what gives them sovereignty, then where lies our sovereignty as a nation? That is why I will want to urge the president to please resume duty. I am now quite convinced that the president seems to be off duty. Because if the president is on duty, these individual groups that are threatening at different parts, from different parts of the country, and the amount of death that you are seeing is very, very terrible. It's not tolerable anymore. And you may be speaking today, you don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow. Nobody is spared in this whole thing. Even those who think they are very, very comfortable as politicians or who are occupying very high political positions and they defend what is happening because it suits their pocket today. You need to even be alive to enjoy the content of your pocket. And that is why it's in the interest of everybody to ask the federal government to take action and then for us to also support the federal government to do that so that all of us have this peace that we earnestly yearn for.
Yeah.
Excuse me, you said the president should resume duty. Do you think, are you saying he's off duty?
Very much off duty. You do know, even without me saying it, that the president is off duty. Otherwise, a number of individuals who are progressing in error, both in their comments and in their action, do not by any stretch of imagination continue to work in that direction. We need a country that will work well. And once the president lets us know, everybody, look at, for instance, in the eastern part of the country, even in the western part of the country, needn't I also mention the middle belt? Everybody is now more or less restricting themselves or properly reclining to their ethnic groups. People progressing in that direction cannot, by any stretch of imagination, protect and indeed promote our nationality. I'm a proud Nigerian and I want to remain so. And I wish and pray that our authorities that have sworn by provision of even to protect us and give strength to provision of Section 14 of the Constitution will do so, because our security will indeed guarantee even the prosperity of our country. The way things are happening in this country, it does appear that the president really needs to resume duty.
I agree with you, sir. But the president recently, during an interview, addressed us. So let's just say he came on duty. So
he's out, yes.
And he talked about, grazing reserves, getting the
grazing routes back.
What's it called? Not a memo. I'm forgetting.
Gazette.
Gazette. And reviving the grazing reserves. And, saying he's trying to, revive the grazing routes and saying nomadic lifestyle must continue. I felt, this is not in touch and in tune with what is happening presently, because we should be progressive.
That even clearly underlines that for a very long time the president has been off duty. How can the president be talking about 1963 Gazette at a time like this?
So what would you advise? So what would you advise now? Yes, let's use this platform.
The last time I appeared on your program, I made it very clear that I am not aware that any time the cattle colonies came together and then made a suggestion that they needed to share weight, in which case you can make them to trek from Kara Namoda to Bayelsa so that they can afford to share weight like an individual who wants to embark on an exercise in the gym for the purpose of burning fats. We need to wait to keep these animals.
Oh, we can't hear you again. Oh, we lost.
It's no longer people. So the president needs to come back to reality. It is not proper for a president to progress in error. Because anybody talking about having grazing routes at a time like this, I need to even ask you a question. Where are the president's children? Where are the children of the ministers? Are they those ones who are just moving with these cattle that are moving in the bush and they stay for a whole month without taking their bath? This is a way of perpetuating the issue of a vicious circle of poverty. It is the children of the poor and those who are not educated that are allowed to be moving with animals. I hear them talk about freedom of association and freedom of movement. Did our constitution provide freedom of movement for goats and cattle and birds? It provides for freedom of movement for individuals. And nobody is saying that a Fulani man or an Hausa man cannot move to any part of the country. We enjoy their presence here even in Delta. But what we are saying is that you cannot continue to take your cattle, which is not in the constitution, and then graze on other people's farm. And then some persons, because of primordial sentiments, will tell us that freedom of association or freedom of movement guarantees that. Did they guarantee it for cattle? It guarantees it for individuals. And nobody is stopping individuals from moving.
All right.
The other time, the Attorney General of the Constitution, who also I assume is not properly on duty, was talking about the issue of spare parts in the north and comparing it to cattle. And I wonder, can that be coming from our Attorney General and the Minister of Justice? We plead with them to know that this country has been in existence before they came into office, and we would like them to help us preserve this country beyond their tenure of office, because we do want to live a country that will work for ourselves and for others.
Okay, YK has been laughing since. Thank you very much, former Commissioner for Information at Delta State. It was a very interesting conversation that our leaders must not continue to progress in error. I think that is very instructive. Thank you very much. We're going to go on a break now.
And insightful.
And we come back, because you are 60, we're allowing you.
I can't help it. I'm sorry.
We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. I just need to confirm if YK has resumed duty. YK, have you resumed duty?
I'm not. I'm still on duty.
Okay, just checking. Right, thanks for staying with us. June 19th every year is designated as World Sickle Cell Awareness Day to create awareness of sickle cell at a national and international level with the goal to increase public knowledge and an understanding of sickle cell disease and the challenges experienced by patients and their families and caregivers. Joining us on the show now is the Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria Ambassador, Olamilekan Agbeleche. He's not here yet, but in a minute we'll have him. And we also have Dr. Annette Akinshete, the National Director and Chief Executive Officer, Sickle Cell Foundation of Nigeria. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good to have you.
My beautiful ladies of your view.
Yeah. So we can have our viewers call us.
You.
Our viewers can call us on 09139076948 and also 08127053687. And then you can send us messages on Facebook. And once I can resume duty, she will read the messages.
Tubes.
Yeah, tubes. Okay.
Tubes.
All right. So every year we have this conversation. I mean, around sickle cell, to bring awareness on the disease, the affordability in taking care of it in Nigeria, management, and all that. So tell us how your foundation is faring in creating more awareness and also helping people out there who have this condition and how they can better manage it in our country.
Thank you. Thank you, Mariah. It's true. June 19th every year is celebrated World Sickle Cell Day. This year is the 13th edition of World Sickle Cell Day. We only just started 2009, thereabouts, 2009. I was, yes, exactly. And in fact, we were just discussing with WHO African Regional Office that it's about time they gave us what we call like a package, like you do for World Tobacco Day, World Diabetes Day, World AIDS Day, World Malaria Day. So everybody around the world has one theme. But as it is now, you know, it's just like a cacophony, everybody in their own little corners. But I think we will get there because we're growing. There's no doubt. Because I think I shared with you, I think last year or year before, that many, many years ago, when I was still a younger doctor with Professor Kuti as Minister of Health at that time, we started what we call non-communicable disease control program. That was when he said, as a pediatrician, let's add sickle cell. Because for us in Nigeria, sickle cell is even though it's in the Western world, it was cancer, it was hypertension, diabetes. And we added those ones, but we included sickle cell. So sickle started. And we did a huge survey all over the country at the time. Traveled everywhere. That's why I feel so sad about the way things are in the north now, because I went to Maiduguri, Bodinga, all those local governments, Sokoto, and Plateau, Mangu, everywhere. We went everywhere in Nigeria at the time. So at that time, awareness was low, or maybe even non-existent. There were times when you would go to communities and ask about, because you want to find out how much sickle cell we had in Nigeria. And they would hide their children. They wouldn't talk about it. It would be neighbors that would say, in that house, there's somebody that has these symptoms and signs. So you write it down that this person, you know. But, you know, over time, that has changed. If we're going to communities now, there's what I would call name recognition. And that's because of the work of advocacy groups like ours, not Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria. And there are others. In fact, we're so many that we have said, look, we have to come together as a coalition. Government is not doing that much in terms of sickle cell disease. So that awareness is increasing over time. There's name recognition. When you go to communities now, they will tell you, even in English, yes, sickle cell. My child has sickle cell. Or in Yoruba, they will say, Arumolegun. That's not really what it is. Arumolegun is actually speaks to something with the bones. And it's not, but now they're even giving us better explanation about the disease than they tell you it is something less something that makes the blood something like that, makes the blood lazy. Again, speaking to the anemia, the shortage of blood, anemia, the children have, the patients have not enough blood to carry oxygen around the body and all. So we're getting to understand it more. And then they're living longer. Longevity is improving, quality of life is improving, and I must say kudos to all these NGOs, advocacy groups. And you're talking about what are we doing? You see why we made Lekon our ambassador? Yes. Because you see, the way we consume or even convey our messages and consume the information and increase knowledge has to change. We're going to target younger people especially. So with him as an ambassador, he's a great ambassador. He's a youth advocate, and he's a graduate of philosophy from the University of Lagos. And he has many other interests. So with him, recently we had, on Saturday, we had Lekon's music. And people with sickle cell, and in fact was open to everyone, sent in videos, competition videos, dancing videos to his music called Verified. I used to sing that thing in my mind. I don't remember it now. Verified, he danced to Verified, and there were prizes, first, second, and third. And he gave the prizes, cash prizes, and it was on a virtual dance event from everybody from across the world. I was just saying, this is something that I think COVID has compelled us to do. Yeah. It's kind of opened the world for us. We bridge space and time, and everybody gathers together for one cause. So with Lekon there, he presented the awards on air, virtually to the winners, first, second, and third. Young people excited to come out and do. Some of them were shy, but I know that next year to be different. So we're moving, even though we used to do walks, we're saying that this will continue. Right. It's a different way of getting across to more people.
I always wonder sometimes, like when we come on air and we talk about every year, we talk, okay, today is World Sickle Cell Day, today is this day. And I always wonder what direct impact it has really on those who are living with, like in this particular case with sickle cell. And it's interesting to note that you say now people are even able to better explain to you what they're going through, and in their local parlance try to explain it. So it shows that educating people makes it easier to manage. So would you say that educating people makes it easier for them to manage
definitely. That is part of what we do. Education is key, and that education comes in as part of management of sickle cell. It's not just the medicines. Of course, they have to take medicines every day. It's education. It's also other ways of managing, including arts. We incorporate arts now into the care of persons with sickle cell. If you come to our center, you will see that it looks like what you might see in the hospitality industry. It doesn't look like a regular hospital or clinic. It's not white, it's arts everywhere. And the children take part in the art. Sometimes children don't have the words to explain what's going on in their minds, but you give them a canvas and painting and everything, and they draw. And they may draw for you, their family on one side, I've seen that a few times, and they alone on another side, they'll tell you that. And the counselor would say, okay, this speaks to the fact that this child feels different. This child feels ostracized. There's stigma, there's discrimination. So you bring the whole family for counseling. So education is key. But you see the beauty of, as I said, we should borrow from the playbook of HIV and AIDS control and ensure that there's multi-sectoral collaboration in management of control of sickle cell. So it's not, and let's make it something that is global and generic. So education sector, for instance, they're teaching in the curriculum sickle cell. Good. They're teaching in the sickle cell.
Who exactly?
Teaching children, so they know early on what sickle cell is, and teach it accurately. Because I see many older people educated who say, "Oh, doctor is 1 in 4. Once I have 4 children, maybe one of them will be sickle cell, the others will not be." And that's incorrect. And I said, my biology teacher taught me that it's 1 in 4. But it's a chance thing, but it is in every pregnancy. That chance is in every pregnancy. So some children will tell you, some parents will say, "Madam, I have had 1 child with sickle cell, so the others are going to be okay." And it's not so. So you can have 7 children, and all 7 will still have sickle cell, because you present it to the mother, and the child picks. The mother
I was going to ask, sorry, you said there's the treatment for sickle cell. What kind of treatments can they get?
Okay, good. Let's look at the whole spectrum. I don't think sickle cell management is from birth to death, from womb to tomb, from beginning to the end. And it's again, everybody involved. It's prevention. You can prevent it from happening in the first place. There's treatment in terms of how can you manage it so that they live long, productive lives by giving them medication every day, folic acid to ensure that their blood is, they have enough blood, malaria, anti-malaria prophylaxis so that they don't get malaria, because that's tilts them into crisis and very severe complications. And then there's a cure now, which is bone marrow transplantation. Yes. Okay. And I'm so happy that we're bringing that to Nigeria. We already have, in fact, in Benin, University of Benin Teaching Hospital already had it. They had some problems. Well, here we are in Lagos, with Lagos State, federal government, and Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria partnering to establish a bone marrow transplant center. And that's the cure for sickle cell.
Fantastic.
So it's going to be available for Nigerians in Nigeria. Because before now, everybody used to go abroad to have it done. You know.
So I believe that information is what has helped so far, but I still see the uninformed get pregnant out of the blue, never find out the status of their partner, and the pregnancy leads to marriage. They then have a child and they deal with life issues and blame every other factor but the decision that got them there in the first place. How much more work are you doing, and do you see your NGOs doing to reach those communities like you did in the past that you mentioned, in present day? Some corner world, some young girls pregnant out of wedlock, in some secondary schools where these are not discussed. How much more work do you see?
Can I add to that question? Because there's that consistent debate of choosing love over health. Like, I love this person. So it might not even also always be about wedlock. It could be about, I love this guy. Yeah. And both of us are SS, but we believe and we trust that God happens.
That's even an extreme. These two don't know.
Yeah.
These two are just in love.
Two different scenarios.
So it is.
Does love conquer all? And I mean, does in this kind of situation?
Okay, let me take it from where Nima started. That this business of raising it's awareness and education. And I would say, okay, let's government do their bit and bring out policies that will ensure that everybody is in charge. You know what you have to do in terms of raising awareness. But not only policies, let the legislature do their bit and bring out laws that will back.
They have landed where I was going to go before.
Exactly, as a lawyer. We need backing for those policies so that they will work. If the policies are just there, they may not be implemented. But when there's a law, and if you fall foul of those implementing them, then there will be consequences. So that's why the policies have to go hand in hand with the legislation. But the legislation we're getting, the bills we are getting are very strange. Strange things are saying you have to put them in prison if you're AS and they have children together. They should go to jail.
So people objected to it rather than fine-tune it?
People objected because you've noticed some years back, I think some things that they have come up. But each time it's shut down.
Yes. So what would you prefer? What sort of policies would you prefer to see?
I would like to see policies that address very comprehensively the entire sickle cell problem. And that is like they do newborn screening abroad. Where for sickle cell in the UK, where they don't have as much sickle cell as us. Every child who's born is screened for sickle cell. So we should have that as well. So we know in time, not just those who have the disease, but those who are carriers.
So they know in time prevent?
Listen, if those who have the disease, they will know. The parents will know in time. They will institute treatment early. Early treatment prevents those children from having all those infections that kill them before the age of 5.
Okay.
Symptoms and signs don't show up till around 9 months. So you would not know. Any new baby is the same. You can't tell until about 9 months, thereabouts. But if they know, as soon as the child is born and they're screening, they just institute antibiotic therapy, preventive antibiotic therapy, immunization therapy, all those things that prevent those infections. These infections that kill these children. 150,000 babies are born every year in Nigeria, and more than 100,000 don't live to the age of 5.
But some of survive, still have to manage it all their life.
They have to manage them all their life. So that is why I'm saying that the legislation we're looking for is one that will be comprehensive. Talk about taking care of children who are under 5 free. And that, you see, that will work. It will fly because this is the area of SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. That goal number 3, there's one target there that speaks to reducing deaths of children under the age of 5. If you target sickle cell, they are going to really dent that statistic. Because we do have a bad statistic.
Good morning, are you there?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning to all of you, the ladies of your view. This is the first time I'm calling.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. So I'm interested in this topic because I had sisters who had sickle cell anemia. So I experienced their pain, their agony, what they went through. So right now in this our context, when we see Italian couples saying, I love you, out of 5, I will have just like one who manage it. I laugh at them. So it's better seen or experienced than imagining it. So people don't really know how painful it is to care for a sickle cell patient. So now I want to ask your guest, how is she taking the awareness? Because most of us who are in the township, we see and we hear about all these things. Then most people who really need this information, they are in the villages, they are there, before they even go for tests, they have gotten pregnant. But I want to commend a community in my place, a church, a priest in particular. He was posted there and he made it mandatory that anybody who wants to wed, and both of you are AS, the church will not wed you. And that has saved us a lot in that community. It became popular to the extent that the diocese now made it a must that any couple must go for this. And a particular hospital managed by a missionary. So the test must be done there before they certify you to wed you. So that has created awareness in the whole Nsukka diocese. So I think your guests or their members, that they can take the campaign to the villages, even the traditional rulers.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chinasa. From what she's saying,
yes.
I mean, based on what you said, so it's more of, let me be sure I'm clear what you're saying. You're not talking about so much of prevention. You're saying that we can live our normal lives, yes, but we should implement or put a policy to ensure that when that child is born, that child is able to be cared for, at least to save that child's life. And even after 5, they are able to sustain their health and manage their health regardless. So we're not saying don't stop people from coming together.
It's two ways. You can do that as well. And that happens, because that's why I'm talking about levels of prevention. Okay. There's something we call primordial prevention in public health. Primordial is don't even let that gene, that S gene, come into the community at all. Exactly. But we've passed that. We have the gene here, because that eons ago, then nature threw up this gene to protect the species, really, to protect us so that we don't go extinct. Because we were seeing that AAs were dying off. But when S came with A, as a carrier state, they were surviving malaria. And this, if you see, sickle cell occurs where you have malaria in the world. Sickle cell map and malaria map are one and the same. So when people say it's a black man's disease, it's not really black man's disease. Because in Southern Africa, you won't get it, because it's temperate climate, but it's here. So I've shifted from what I was thinking before. But I was just trying to say it can be prevention. There's primary prevention also. The gene is already there, okay? There's nothing we can do. How do you prevent those, which is what she's saying, who are at risk from having a child with sickle cell? Education. That can be done. Education, genetic counseling. This genetic counseling, they tell you everything. Okay, but you see, if there's no policy and law backing it to say that this genetic counseling has to be available in every primary healthcare center across the country. So it's close to the people. And that means everyone is aware. And what about schools? Educating them in school, educating the teachers. And when you miss newborn screening, you catch them in. And I'm talking about now thinking ahead, so that you know very early whether you're A or AS or SS. You already know way ahead, long before it's time to go up the aisle. But having said that, by the time we get what she's suggesting happens. But you see, we also see the other side, where people are coming with fictitious results because they really want to get married anyway, and that's happening. So it may not be this actual solution. That solution is let us have awareness. Let people know that you can have a child with sickle cell, and it's not a stroll in the park. It's not easy. And that's what genetic counselors will do for you. But having said that, there are also options that people should be told, which is what they do at genetic counseling. They tell you there are options. People may want to marry and not have children. I've seen plenty like that, and it's their prerogative. So it's not for you to ram it down their throat that you cannot have a child. They will go and get a result for you. And then others, I have a young girl now whose mother is my friend and has been saying, you cannot marry this person because both of you are AS. And she has had a child who was SS, and she didn't want that to happen. But we know what's happening, that science has advanced. They're doing what they call pre-implantation genetic diagnosis. Pre-implantation, that's like an in vitro thing outside of the body. They bring the sperm, and you're saying the sperm cell and the ovum, and they put them together and select the ones that don't have sickle cell.
Oh, wow. Technology.
And then
give it up for technology.
That's what they inject in the mother, and she carries the baby to term.
But the thing is that all this technological advancement, the science is not accessible to...
Not only is it not accessible...
And affordable.
There are sometimes ethical considerations too, and church religious considerations. But it's just that make people aware that this is available. And there's also prenatal diagnosis. In early pregnancy, you can determine the genotype of your unborn child. And people are saying, to what extent are you promoting abortions or anything? No. But you see, let's go back. It's still, government has a big role to play. Let this awareness thing happen.
Yes.
Let there be policies that speak to that. Let's know who is responsible for what. Primary healthcare centers are all over. How many local government areas do we have in Nigeria? I think it's 774. They're still there. So they're close to the people. Let them be manned with genetic counselors. Let it be training. And this is what we'll capture or articulate in good policies that will be backed by legislation. So our legislation should not be looking at punitive measures for people who are AS and AS who have children, you know. So that's
fantastic.
You're right. Because when I was younger, I didn't know anything about AA or AS.
Yes,
I just had my child.
Exactly.
You know, I just got married.
That's still happening. That's still happening.
You know? So that information has to be shared.
Absolutely. And right now it's left to advocacy groups. And that's why, again, I wish Lekon has come on, coming on, because he's doing a good job of that. By talking to people are listening to him. He's an influencer. He's advocating. He talks and people listen. And young people listen to him. So that's the kind of thing we want to do more. But
we have to wrap up. I think what I like most about the conversation today is that we're not looking for punitive measures. We're looking for how we can manage, that entire spectrum, like you said earlier, we can manage it. So what you will share to me is that no matter what decision you make as an adult, let's provide options for these people. And let's have policy to back it up.
Absolutely.
So they can actually take on those options.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Madam, for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Any other final information you want to give us before we run?
I just want to say that, well, we're doing a lot to mark World Sickle Cell Day. So if you go to Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria website and all the social media, I think there's one I should be saying, handles, I won't mention anyone, you'll find there's a lot of activities going on, and we're working together. We're working together with other NGOs, because I see a lot of NGOs are doing the work that government should be doing. We're picking up that slack. So join us in all the activities. Most of them are virtual, and we'll be happy to have you on board.
Thank you very much. That's all we can take. We'll be speaking to Dr. Annette Akishete, the Director, Chief Executive Officer of Sickle Cell Foundation.
Nigeria.
That's all we can take on the show. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.